You mentioned Nashville and the music scene, the community, and how awesome it is. How amazing was it kind of getting into that? And now that you're in it, how amazing is it being actually in the country music scene down there?
Nashville to me was such a huge city when I moved. Like I come from a town of 2,500. Like
Where did you
it's
grow up again?
so I was born in South Korea and I was adopted at a very young age, and lived in this Trenton, Illinois. Super small town. Everyone knows everyone. We have one stoplight. We have a
Oh
bring your
wow.
tractor to school day. Um, what else? Oh, our high school our high school and junior high was shared by three towns.
Oh
Our
wow.
graduating class was maybe of like 80 some people, and we were the biggest graduating class in a while. Um,
Wow.
and I was one of the few Asians because it was a small town in
Right.
southern Illinois. Um, but I loved it. Like here, and I said this on the show, and they didn't edit. Like, so they could have went a lot of different ways with my story, and they highlighted the good parts for the most part. But there's some stuff I wish they would have put in. But like, so um I moved here to town in October of 2019, and I was making trips back and forth for the last couple of years prior, just to write and see what it was all about, because I ended up falling in love with the city. um but a lot of people don't look at you as like much when you also don't have a label, but also when you're not the traditional white guy with a guitar in
White
terms of
guy
country
hat
music.
and boots and everything, all that stuff. Yeah.
This is another okay.
Uh-oh.
So it made me
Okay.
think, because okay, so here's another thing, and this will kind of go in with the story. There was only three Asians out there when we did the voice: me, Keegan Farrell, and Kenji. They got us mixed up,
Oh my gosh.
and I will never forget, because one of them I'm not going to say their name, like in the circle that we were all in, we all know who said it, but one of them finally got tired of it and made a comment. Okay, I'm not this person, so I need to ask you this: how many of the white guys with cowboy hats are you getting mixed up?
Right.
They never got us confused ever again. They they never called us by the other's name, because in some aspect they're embarrassed, and they should
Yeah.
be. Like, I get
Yeah.
it. Also, like, I will give them. This is probably just me trying to be nice, but I'm like, granted, there's 80 of us, and you don't know us all, but you're not getting everyone else mixed up. You're getting a couple
Exactly.
of the black girls mixed up.
Right.
I'll never forget, because one of them, her audition just aired. Um, oh no, her audition didn't air yet, and someone texted her saying, "Hey, you did so good tonight," and she's like, "I wasn't
Oh
on tonight's episode,"
no.
and it's just like, it's this whole thing.
Right.
The world we're living in right now, but Nashville, I found my spots where I am welcomed and where I feel safe. But there's a huge reason also why I don't go downtown. It's
Mm.
where I get the most racial slurs thrown at me. It's where I get the most threats. I got followed to my car one night with people asking if these guys asking if I had a bomb.
No way. Wow.
Yeah, and they did show it too on the television. I'm up there singing one day, and it's Chris Jansen's "Buy Me a Boat," and it's that part where they call me redneck, white trash, and blue collar, and I get said, "You're not even white."
Yeah.
No kidding. Like, no, it's a cover. I didn't write this song. It's just a fun one to sing. It also gives good tips. Um, and if you're in Nashville, a lot of us live on tips.
Yeah.
So you sing the popular songs, but there's this is where I did say this on the show, and I really wish they would put it on my package, but I was never treated differently when I lived in a small town of 2,500 and being one of the only Asian people in that whole community.
Mm.
Never, maybe a couple times, but it was when I was growing up and being bullied, because kids are terrible, especially junior high kids.
Oh, terrible. Yes.
Terrible, terrible. Like, why does that exist? But nothing can compare to what I've experienced being here in the short time I have, it being such a diverse city, it being I mean, again, it's a city, it's huge, like it's a melting pot of cultures. But I've never have experienced what I've experienced here anywhere else. And you would think in a city so open, so diverse, so big, it'd be welcoming. And again, it's not shaming the whole city. I'm not doing that.
Right.
But I have never been called some of these things outside of here. And thankfully too, it's never been by people of the community, of the music community. It's been by tourists most likely, and it's been by some of the locals. And I don't know who these people are.
Right.
I don't care to dive deeper into knowing that. But I also believe in, you just, eventually it just gets tiring. And
Right.
again, it's one reason I don't go downtown. It's just because for me, I don't feel safe. I don't feel super welcomed. I always feel like I'm being watched. Like,
Wow.
because again, it's a lot of white people, and that's not putting the race card out there, because I don't think a lot of people get it either. But they're like, you always hang around, like you're just one of us. I'm like, you guys make me feel like one of you, but not everyone sees that. They see what I
Right.
look like. And again, I'm not like, I don't know, it's weird because I didn't grow up in the whole Asian culture because I was adopted. I know
Right.
some stuff about it just from what I've researched, but I'm like, I'm not ashamed of it. But at the same time, like, I don't know anything else but here. This is where I've grown up. This is what I know. Like, Cracker Barrel is one of my favorite places in the world.
Love it.
You can't get any more southern than that. Like,
One of the best places in the world, Cracker Barrel.
oh no, I have a hat with Cracker Barrel's logo
Do
on
you
it.
really? I
Oh,
need to
I
get
brought that
one.
I brought that to LA, and people are like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, you haven't lived, my friend." Um, but it's just, you know, it's it's a hard when people don't understand or try to take the time. And like, um, I'm gonna pull it up because one thing I loved about doing the show was how incredibly faith driven a lot of the people there were. I met a lot of my closest friends through a Bible study we started on Zoom, and it just branched out from there. But I bring that up because our pastor at one of the churches I was at this past weekend said this, and with everything that happened this last week, um, just because somebody's pain doesn't make sense to you doesn't mean it's not real for them. It just probably means you haven't walked the same road they have. And that spoke light years to me. Like,
Yeah.
again, because I think a lot of people that I spend time with, they don't treat me differently. They don't see the color of my skin. They don't see that I'm Asian. They just think of me as one of the guys, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but not everyone sees that. And so when the whole like stop Asian hate thing happened, and or when I tell people like, it's a reason why I don't go downtown. It's they're like, some of them don't get it. And I try to tell them in the best way, and I don't know, it's a lot because I don't think
Yeah.
they don't get it, and it's not their fault. Like, some of these people just grew up where they grew up, and it's how they think. But what happened? The same church I was at where they said that they did this thing on Sunday after service where they just had people come, and instead of doing a panel like so many places have done, they just had a place for healing and grief, and where people could just share how they felt. And
Mm.
I remember I wasn't able to go, but the pastor said the next couple days later, people said that no one has ever done something like this. And I think it's because I think a lot of places are trying to just solve the problem by doing these panels and doing stuff. And like, if you talk about it enough, it might sink in.
Mm.
But I think what really helps is when you have empathy and you have compassion, and like, it's one thing to sympathize with someone, but empathy is really where it hits, because that's when you're feeling what they're feeling. And it really is a powerful thing. And sorry, I'm going on about this.
No, it's fine.
because I bet you didn't think we were gonna get this deep, but I'm a jack of all trades. I'm also a social work major, so this is where
Oh,
this
nice,
comes into.
nice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot. Like, I don't think, again, I have not really taken much of an initiative to stand up and talk about this as much because I didn't experience it where I was. And it's been in the last maybe year and a half, 2 years that I started talking about it. And I remember too being very vocal about it because I fell in love with the movie. But Crazy Rich Asians, I remember when that was such a big deal
Yeah,
because it was the first all Asian cast in
yeah,
25 years and blah blah blah, and it was making all this news, and I remember seeing it and just falling in love with it. But when I did my research, it's like, yeah, Asians aren't necessarily always in the best light. We either get chosen as a sidekick,
yeah.
we're the geeky smarty pants, or we're the action star that, like Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee and all these people.
Hmm.
Like, but we're so much more than that. And the fact that it took 25 years for them to do something that big, it's I'm waiting for it to be a time where these things shouldn't be shocking anymore. These should just be a norm. Like, why can't there be an Asian in country music? I remember when the I put in quotes first because this is the one that they highlighted, and it's probably also because social media it was at the time. But when, like, the first Asian country singer, and again in quotes because he's not the first, I bet, but was highlighted on American Idol a couple years ago, and they were like, an Asian country singer, blah blah blah, and then he goes home like in Hollywood Week or something. But
Yeah.
I just remember so many things about that and thinking, why has it taken us to 2019? I think it was 2000 or 2018, maybe. I forget. But why has it taken us that long for there to be the first? And, like, and why is it shocking?
Yeah. Why is
Like
it such a big deal? Why are you talking about it so much? You
exactly.
know?
Like, well, that's one thing that some of the contestants kept asking me about. They were like, why are they harping on you being Asian in country music? Why is that such a big deal?
Mm,
Like, what? Like, they're not asking us, like, why is the white guy singing pop music? Why is this girl singing country? Like, why is this girl singing this kind of, like, that's just like, why do you love this? Like, they ask them, like, why do you like this genre of music? But for me, it's like, how do you feel about being an Asian in country music? And in reality, it's like, it's just it shouldn't be as big of a deal,
yeah.
but it is because, again, it's because people don't have nothing to pull from. Like, it'd be
Yeah.
different if there was more Asians who in the genre that were highlighted and featured. Um, but there's not. Like, it'd be like if I was like a Carrie Underwood. I bring her up because she's one of my biggest inspirations. But
Mm,
like, her growing up, she had people like Reba and Dolly and Martina, all these, like, the list goes on and
right.
on.
Yeah.
For me, who do I have to pull from that looks like me? No
That's
one.
true. Yeah.
And if there are, they aren't highlighted, they aren't featured. There's probably so many people like me and I've met quite a few Asians in country music, doing writers rounds, doing stuff here in Nashville, who are extremely talented. But are they being highlighted? No. They're doing the same things I am, or if less. Um,
Right.
and they're not getting featured. They're not, like, so I think if people would just move on from the fact that, yeah, we're different, but at the same time, music has no boundaries, it has no barriers. It's what brings so many of us together. We would do
Yeah.
so much better. And again, I stand by, if there was actual, like, Asians and Hispanics and whatever you have in every genre of music, every genre of film, television, it would not be these big stories of the first country Asian singer. Like, we don't need, like, yeah, that's great, but why are we taking so much time to highlight that and then don't do anything with that.
Right.
Like I don't, and it might just because I don't follow him or whatever, but like I don't know what that guy from Idol is doing now.
No, yeah.
So it's, you know, it's that. And
Yeah.
that's why for me too, I'm trying to do as much as I can by taking my platform that I was blessed with to have because of The Voice and use that to my advantage now, especially while it's still on. Because I think a lot of people also don't realize is when you do shows like American Idol or America's Got Talent or something like that, you have a whole year of where people still remember you, blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
then after that, they move on to a different season. The Voice is 2 seasons a year.
Yeah.
So you better take as much advantage as you can by doing what you're going to do, put out what you're going to put out in the time you have before the next batch of contestants come rolling in. Because I remember talking with people from season 19 and they were like, it's such a machine. Because literally the day they left LA is when we flew into LA.
Oh,
Like honestly,
wow.
we probably saw them in the airport. But also season 19 wasn't on television yet when we were in the airport. Like
Yeah.
season 19, I remember it airing when we were at the hotel. It was like 2 weeks before our blinds actually began filming because we were able to watch it together.
That's
And
so
you know,
crazy.
which is again kind of like, how's this not a dead giveaway? There's 80 of us in the hotel lobby watching The Voice. Like,
Right.
oh, and people are like, oh, are you guys doing the show? We're like, no, I just really love the show. Which again, that's like moments like that I'm not gonna forget because you know we're crammed in this tiny lobby. We're watching the show. We're eating McDonald's chicken nuggets, and there's people eating
Yeah.
Denny's pancakes, and it's just like these moments that are so special, and yet so simple. But yeah, that's
Cool.
the Nashville part of it. But I've had really good luck doing writers rounds, and I love that because that's all original music, and it's doing what I love, and that's getting to take music that I'm writing from my heart and music I want to put out, and seeing people resonate with that is so much better than any feeling in the world because I've been known for doing covers for so long, and I'm grateful for it because it's gotten me where I'm at. But for me, as a songwriter and as an artist, I want people to feel that way about my own music. And the fact that people are starting to do that, it means a lot. So the fact I found where I am welcomed and where I do feel like I'm making somewhat of an impact, it, I feel good about it. So those parts of Nashville are special because again, the music community is so small,
Hmm.
but it's so close, and it's very supportive, and I'm grateful for it.